Dear brothers, I asked some of you on social media recently what you struggle with as men, and I got a bunch of responses, but one stuck out to me that I want to address with y'all this morning. And the question was, how do I model to my kids a strong work ethic without compromising time with them? So this question hits home for me. So allow me to get a little personal with you guys right now. So my dad was a real life superhero, and you're going to hear me talk about him a lot, and for good reason. He was imperfect, he had an ego and a host of other vices, but he was my superhero, and he was an unbelievable dad. But he gave me one specific gift that is my most cherished possession: his time. He never said no to spending time with me. So he would get home from a long day of work. We're talking 4:30 in the morning, get back at 5, 6 p.m. at night. Long, arduous, hard labor days. And actually, now that I think about it, one of my fondest memories is when he would get home, you would always know he was there before seeing him because he was the best at whistling. He could whistle any song, use the four fingers, or he could whistle anyway. And he would always get to the house, he'd get out of his truck, and it would be Boston or Queen or Journey, and he'd be whistling some classic rock song. And so you always knew Dad was home. And he always had this big smile on his face when he saw me. And I can tell you that my joy was endless when he got to the door. So as soon as he walked in the house, I wanted to go outside, play one-on-one basketball in the yard until it was midnight. I wanted to go to the park and throw some pitches or take some batting practice or field some balls. I wanted to go to work with him when he was driving a tractor trailer for a few years, just so I could sit in the back. And he would say, "Of course, buddy." If I wanted to go fishing or help him clean the yard or go to Home Depot, it didn't matter. He said yes. And I cannot remember a time that he would ever say no to spending quality time with me. Now, don't get me wrong. He said no, but it was almost always to material goods or something stupid that I wanted and stuff like that. But when it came to quality time with me, the answer was always yes. So I grew up knowing that my dad loved me and wanted to spend time with me, even if it was only just for a few minutes. And he was truly my best friend. I got to know him deeply. I got to learn untold lessons. I watched him work his ass off, cranking through 12 hours a day all week long, and he still found time to be with me even when he was smoked. He would be exhausted and beat up from his physical labor. It didn't matter how much pain he was in or what he was struggling with. He was going to sit down and spend time with me. He would sit on a bucket to catch when I wanted to work on my fastball. He would rebound my 1,000 free throws that I put up. When I was really little, we had this little basketball hoop in my bedroom, and he would get on his hands and knees, and we would play for what felt like hours, and he would never let me win, of course. He'd come to my basketball practices in high school at night, and he would teach everybody how to box out and rebound like manly men and not girly men, but in his much better Schwarzenegger accent. And I can say the following with almost complete certainty: I do not remember a single game that my dad ever missed me play throughout my life. Maybe there was one or two, but when I was playing or I had a performance or something was happening, my dad was in the crowd, and he would rather get up early or go do an extra day of work than miss something that I was doing. I could always count on looking up in the crowd and seeing his smiling face. That was my superhero. That was my dad, a hardworking, blue-collar dude from Maine that always put quality time with me above anything else. It wasn't gifts. It wasn't something special, or it wasn't his job. It wasn't some notoriety that he had. None of those things existed. But what he did have was the ability to spend time with his son, and he never skipped a day of that. I myself am not a father yet, but I know many men who are trying to figure out how to spend more time with their kids. And I know that you want to show them work ethic and still be there for them. And a lot of you are working long days or difficult jobs, but you brought a child or children into this world, and they deserve your time, even when it seems hard. I can only speak from my own experience at the moment as a son, but I knew every time that my dad was going to say yes to spending time with me. And I watched him work his ass off, and he still I never questioned my dad's work ethic. He worked harder than pretty much anyone I know. And I knew from as early as I can remember that he busted his ass. And I never I knew that. I wanted to be that with him. But what was better is that didn't stop him from spending time with me. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit, I don't even know if I can name a single gift I got, material gift I got as a child at Christmas or birthdays or whatever. There was a BB gun, and I'll tell that story at a later date. But I always will remember my dad saying yes to being with his boy child. That is a gift that no amount of money or accolades or anything can even come close to. And I pray that I can pass that on to my own children just like it was with me. So remember, guys, it's not about spending hours and hours and hours with your kids or giving them all sorts of crap. It's about saying yes to spending time with them, even if it's only for a few minutes. Those few minutes compounded across time will change their lives. It sure changed mine. As always, God bless, be strong, and say yes to quality time with your kids.